And so now we'll talk about Rune Age.
Delving into the fantasy world of Terranoth, which is Descent and Runebound and Dragon Dungeon Quest and a bunch of those games. I would say it's really, you can really see the ties in with Runebound. In fact, one of the final enemies of this game is the same one from the original game of Runebound. But anyway, it's a deck building game. Is it? What's my word for that now? Yet another deck building game. Yadby? Another deck building game. Yet another deck building game.
Okay, I got you.
So, actually, at first blush, I think it does look like another deck building game, but there are certainly some differences. Let's look at them. There's a lot of cards in Rune Age, and so I'm going to talk about them, not all of them and not in great detail. But Rune Age is a deck building game, which means as the game progresses, you will start with some cards in your deck, and as the game progresses, you will get more and more cards in your deck. You're buying these cards from the table, and then you'll add those cards to your deck, and you will do different things with them. Now, Rune Age has 4 different scenarios. Each of these scenarios comes with a deck, and each scenario is basically a different game. You have the Race for the Monuments, where players are trying to build up their resources to build a monument. The first one to build their monument is the winner. Then there's one where players are attacking each other and just trying to take out everybody else. There's one where players are constantly fighting off raiders, working together in a purely cooperative game, trying to basically just get through a deck of cards. And then there's the Return of the Dragon Lords, which is kind of like a race game where you are trying to take out the final Dragon Lord here, and if you do so, you win. You can attack other players in that game. So you have from fully cooperative, everyone's working together, to basically ignoring one another and just racing, to being able to attack one another, but at the same time racing to be the first one to win a goal, or just straight out attacking one another. Now, let's look at these cards. This game has 3 currencies. You can see here that we have money as a currency. So you'll start with some of these cards, and these cards have money. And you'll be able to use these cards from your hand when you draw them to buy cards. Now, most of the cards that you will buy will be cards that are in front of you. There are 4 armies in this game. I have 2 of them laid out here for you. You have the undead and you have the humans, but there is also the elves and chaos. There's 2 other armies that are involved in the game too. But each army comes with 4 different cards. Mostly they have powers of 1, 2, 3, 4, but as you can see here, the undead is 1, 2, 3, 3. But it doesn't matter. Each of these guys, it has their special ability. They have a monetary cost down in the bottom, so you can buy them to put them in your deck. And then they have a certain amount of military might that they give you, which is basically another type of currency. Now, you can use this military might to conquer other cards. There are some cards in the middle of the table, which are basically cities that you can capture. And so if you have, like, for example, 6 worth of military power in your hand, you can capture the city. Now, when you capture cities, and even if you don't capture ones in the middle of the table, you always have 3 that you can capture on your own, or you can buy them. You can buy them for 4, capture them for 2. And when you put a city, you put it in front of you, and you basically, well, the game says exhaust, but we're just going to say tap for now. Turn these cities sideways for your 3rd currency, which is influence. That influence is then used to buy these cards, which are in the middle of the table, which you can put in your deck. These cards will often give you special abilities, or sometimes neutral fighting units. I mean, hey, if you get a dragon in your hand, that's a pretty powerful thing. Look, he's 6. So that is basically the extent. And these are showing, again, many of the cards that are involved in this game. Now, I said there's 3 different currencies, but you can use your military might to attack another player. Usually you would do that to take over one of their cities, or you will attack a card they have in front of them, which has their home base. And if you take out someone's home base, and damage is recorded using counters here, then you have taken that player out of the game. Also, when you attack players, you play all the cards from your hand, and one of the things that's neat about this game is, even if you get rid of all the cards from your hand, defending yourself from a player, at the end of your turn you'll draw back up, so you always have a hand worth of cards. And sometimes when you fight, usually when you fight neutral monsters, for example, when you fight this final beast here, the Dragon Lord, to win the game, you see there's a die, and so you roll, and if you roll this, one of your units is destroyed, or if you roll the double skulls, 2 of your units is destroyed. So you have to be careful, and you can see it takes 18 military to take this sucker out, and that's going to take a lot of firepower. So the game goals are going to be different based on which scenario you are playing, but essentially the basics are the same. You want more of these cards to put in your deck so you have money to spend. You want to use that money to buy soldiers so that you can conquer those lands, which give you influence to buy more soldiers, and so on and so forth. And influence also lets you get more money into your hand. And so it's kind of a circle between the 3 currencies, and then the first person to accomplish the goal of that scenario is the winner. Okay, the benefit of Rune Age. The thing I like about it, I like the 3 currencies. I mean, I don't care what you say. Unless you're playing against someone else, the fighting is just a currency that you're using.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the interaction between the players. Very good. And I like the fact that there's really 4 different ways to play, in the sense with these 4 scenarios. Each one has a very different feel. I very much like the in-your-face aspect when you play those versions. What I don't like is it seems like the combinations are preset. I could be wrong, you know, maybe need some more play. And if there was a game that needs an expansion, this is it. It really needs more cards.
Very much so. Also has a very high learning curve. First time you play this game, if you play it with somebody that has already played it before, they're going to win, hands down. And if they don't win, it's because they let you win. If you've played the game once, you already know all the combos that are out there. You know what to look for. You know what to look for in your deck. You know what other people are going to come out with in their deck. So attacking each other is a little bit more of a science at that point. Your first game is just kind of like, sure, let's try it. And then you get beat down like a fill in the blank, and it's just not pretty. So I like the game. It's cool. I want to see some expansions to see if it gets better. Otherwise, not something I would pick up. I think there's so many other games that kind of scratch the same itch. This isn't good enough to make me buy it over something else.
Well, here's the thing. I like having it. I think it's fun, and I hate to say it needs an expansion because it kind of does. I would like more cards. The things I do like, though, is it does seem like each faction has a very different feel to it.
Yeah.
The undead felt like they were undead. Mm-hmm. The humans felt like they were just pile drivers, and the elves felt like ninnies.
Yes, they were. I played the elves because there were no dwarves. There were no dwarves.
Well, maybe that's in the expansion.
Maybe. Hopefully.
So I'm going to give it a tentative severed thumbs up.
It's like 2 halves that makes a whole.
Because I enjoyed it, but it needs more. It needs the rest of the hand.
Yeah, I guess so. I'll go along with that. I'll give it 1 thumb up instead of 2, or a half or whatever. I'll give it 1 thumbs up because I can see the potential, but right now it's just not there.